Stick a fork in me. I'm done. Hello, welcome to my channel. Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg. Today I'm announcing the end of the 5th annual Read What You Own Challenge. The Read What You Own Challenge is a challenge created by that evil mastermind, Criminali, to read a certain number of books or a certain number of pages that you already own before buying another book. And this year I was joining the challenge for the 5th year, and I challenged myself to read 25,000 pages of print books, digital books, or audiobooks that I already owned. And as of last night, I crossed the threshold. I am at 25,112 pages completed. However, this challenge has an asterisk, at least for me, because I fell off the wagon a couple of times. I did buy a number of books. There were some exemptions that I set out for myself, and a lot of those books I purchased were covered under some exemptions. Some were not. So while I finished this challenge, I crossed that threshold of 25,000 pages. I didn't really finish it in the way that's satisfying, that's complete. I have an asterisk. I did fail. A couple of weeks ago, or I should say about a week ago, I bought a digital book just because I wanted to. It was on sale. It was King Sorrow by Joe Hill. It normally goes for like $16.95 or $16.99 on Kindle, but it's on sale for $1.99, and I had to buy it. There was also a sale over at Humble Bundle. This is a website that sells books, games, and other merchandise at a deep discount, usually for charity. And they had a collection of horror books, collections of horror short stories, 52 of them. And I bought it for only $25. I really could not have resisted. Now, out of those 52 books, I think I already owned 6 or 7, but that's okay, having some duplicate ebooks, because I got a lot of other books out of that deal. But that does mean this challenge is a failure for me, and I'm okay with that failure. I know that Criminali also failed his challenge this year, and he mentioned that this year felt different. And I think I agree that both Ollie and my 2 other co-hosts, MJ at Reading This Life, and Crystal at Fiber Artsy, we've all mentioned that it's been a little more difficult to complete this challenge in the end of 2025 and the beginning of 2026. It probably has to do with this world just going all to hell in the handbasket, to use polite language. It just feels wrong in this world, and buying books provides some sort of relief, some sort of solace. So yes, I failed, but I also finished it. I finished that challenge by reading the pages. Of course, I would have read those pages anyway, but now I can tell myself that this challenge is completely done. I probably will be doing this challenge again in upcoming years, because I do have a problem buying way more books than I can possibly read. Now, these are not always collectible books, although some of them are. Some of these are just books that say, yeah, maybe someday I will want to read that. And truth be told, someday will not come for many of these books. They will sit on my Kindle unread. They will sit on my shelves unread, or sit on my audio collection unlistened to. They will never be finished. And I'm okay with that. I have to come to terms with that. The purchasing of books, the acquiring of books, is just a thing that some people do. You don't really have to justify it to yourself or to anyone else. If you see a book and you want it, maybe you should just go ahead and get it. But maybe add a little bit of moderation. And this is really where this challenge is supposed to do. It makes you think, do I really need this book? Will this book sit unread? And if it will sit unread, is it worthwhile? Is there enough satisfaction to purchase this book, to never read it? In a lot of cases, Yeah, there will be that satisfaction. And in some cases, I look at it and say, no, there isn't going to be that satisfaction. And it's very difficult to balance these two ways of thinking because they can both exist simultaneously in my mind on the same book. So, this is why this challenge is pretty good. It balances out the year, it sort of forces yourself to look at what you do for a certain amount of time. This time for me was 25,000 pages. I'm not sure I will go with the 25,000 pages again next year. Next year is still a long way off. I might create my own. I might set a time limit because I've noticed out of the 5 years that I've done this challenge, I've always finished this challenge in the first or second week of March. Now, the first two times that I did this challenge, it was the 100 book challenge, where I was just reading 100 books that I already owned. But that one sort of forced me into reading shorter books, and the page challenge method allows me to read some longer books. So in that case, I kind of like the page challenge count, but it's a lot harder to keep track of than just the number of books that you've read. So what will come up in November 5th of 2026? Will I join this challenge again? I hope I do. But I also want to make some modifications. What these modifications will be, I'm not sure yet, because it's going to focus my mind, again, on deliberately deciding what books I want to acquire, when I want to acquire them, and will they ever be read or not read. I'm being very repetitive. And oddly enough, I still encourage people to try this challenge if you think you have a problem of acquiring too many books, because it does focus your mind. It does force you to make decisions, and it allows you to succumb to temptation. There's one thing I cannot resist, and that is temptation, badly butchering the Oscar Wilde quote. So there I am, a failure for the fifth annual challenge, but again, not a failure because I don't feel bad about having succumbed to buying some books during this year. It was still an enjoyable experience. Well, that is the end of the fifth annual Read What You Own challenge. I'll see you again on November 5th of 2026, where I'll make my announcement of what I'll be doing for this year and going into 2027 about my book buying habits. Thank you so much for watching, and keep on reading.